Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Talking Preps presented by Mascot Media. I'm Blair Carrot. I'm your host. Our guest, one of our own, the illustrious Brad Blue, Director of High School Relations, but best known as the former girls basketball coach and athletic director at Farmington High School. Coach Blue, how are you, sir?
Man, it is great. Great to be with you, and sure we're going to have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we are, and I see my timer's already messed up on me, so
That's okay.
that's okay. We'll get rid of that thing here momentarily. But we've known each other a long time, and I don't know, and I think it would be and I think our audience would like to know, how on earth did you get involved in coaching? Where did it all start for you?
You know, I'm like so many young kids. I grew up playing outside, and athletics was my whole life. There was never a moment in my life when I was a young kid that I didn't know that I was going to be a coach. I mean, I knew it from the word go. Now, really, I excelled as a high school athlete in baseball. I
Mm-hmm.
was a big, tall, left-handed pitcher, and I really thought I would be a college baseball pitching coach. It was my aspirations, but once I got through college, and that took a while, but once I got through college, the doors that opened for me were in women's basketball, and boy, was that a blessing. I've been so fortunate to come across the people that I got to coach and be involved with as parents, and I was very fortunate. I was a very fortunate young man.
Now, how did it? I knew you were a baseball guy, so how did it come about where you got involved with girls basketball?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird deal, really. I helped out in the Fable system. Joe Kretschmeyer was athletic director at the time, and Barry Gebhardt was one of my. He was actually my college roommate. We all grew up together, and so he was helping Joe, and then I was helping in the girls program at Ramey Junior High. But then when I got the job at Farmington, it was actually because it was the last week of September. They had to make a personnel change. That job was opened, and I was looking for a job. And I thought, oh, back then we were a little Class A school. We were real small. And I thought, oh, I'll stay here for 3 or 4 years. Well, 34, as a young man, and I came out here looking like this, so something happened along the way.
Who are some of the mentors you had? Who helped influence you in coaching?
That's a great question. Guys like Dickie Harris, guys that I played for, they really shaped me as a young man. Dickie Harris is who I played Legion ball for. Joe Kretschmeyer, obviously. Gary Roark was my college coach when I played at Crowder. Norm DeBryan was so good to me and is just an angel on this earth. But when I got to Farmington, I got to be around guys like Alan Holland and saw how successful he was and tried to really kind of take some of those concepts and flip those into the girls' basketball side. And, best I can tell, things turned out pretty well for me.
Yeah, I would say they did. You several state championship appearances, one state title. The the quest. How I know it's awesome to win it, but how much is that as satisfying as the journey to try to get there for a coach?
Boy, I'm going to tell you, we, that's a great question. The journey, I appreciate the journey and I understand the journey more now. I didn't really at the time. I was just trying to win the next game, but we made it to 8 Final Fours, and then the people you're competing against, when you see them win the state title and you're not, it raises the bar, and so in coaching, we've all got to feel like we've got to win the big one. And so when we did win it, it was more of a relief than being able to enjoy it. But, um, um, and to this day, I really love, regardless of what sport or what level, I really enjoy seeing what the great teams do. The DNA of great teams, whether it's a college football team, high school girls basketball team, a major league baseball team, whatever. I just think that those teams are special, and there is a significant difference between being good and being great.
What was the most fun for you? Was it the games or was it the practice?
I love the games. I'm not lying. I love the games. Practice. What I felt like is we had to get certain things done in practice. We had to, be prepared. I always tried to make the practices very intense so that when we got in those big moments in a game, they knew how to tolerate pressure. The big moments. And so we really geared our practices where they might have been as long, but they were high octane. They were action, and if we were in, then we were going to play, at full capacity.
So you're rolling along, you're having great success as the girls' basketball coach. Then the opportunity comes along to be the athletic director as well. What was that challenge like, and how, if any, effect did it have on your coaching?
I became a worse coach because I had so many things I wanted to do as an athletic director that I didn't have time to coach. My daughter Taylor was a sophomore when I was trying to do both, and so I couldn't leave her. Uh, we had a lot of things that we had to start doing for our athletic program. Uh, and so when she graduated, I kind of fired myself. I kind of removed myself from the women's basketball, and Brad Johnson's done legendary things ever since. Uh, but yes, the trying to balance those two, I was not very good because I knew that we had a lot of things to do with our facilities, uh, things that I really wanted to do to really kind of pattern Dick Johnson and the things that he was doing at Fayetteville. I thought he just really moved the needle so much at Fayetteville that I wanted to take his blueprint and kind of bring it to Farmington uh, to elevate our programs.
For young administrators and coaches out there, what advice would you give to them to help them achieve or maintain success?
What a great question that is. When I was coaching, 90% of the time I could see my problems coming. When you're an athletic administrator and the phone rings, it can be the boogeyman on the other side. You don't know if it's going to be a pleasant phone call or if somebody's mad at something that's happened with their kid or something that's happened on a team. But just being consistent, staying to your values, making sure that you have all the facts. I learned that you can't make good decisions until you have all the information. And so, being open minded. But, Brian Law told me, and it was very true. Once he was assistant superintendent. He was the football coach at our place, and he was assistant superintendent when I became athletic director. And he said, Brad, he goes, the black and white's going to be the black and white, but how successful you are as an athletic director is going to depend on how you interpret the gray. And that was well said. And to this day, it's a very accurate statement. It's the stuff that's in black and white. That's the easy stuff. But when you have to use good judgment and use common sense and values, and that's what's going to dictate whether you're successful or not as an athletic administrator.
Having been there, now director of high school relations for Mascot Media, you've been in those shoes. You know what they're going through. How big of an asset can you be for an AD in your current role?
It's one of the great things I love about this job is I get to stay connected with athletic directors. I talk to athletic directors every single day across many different states. One of the things that I've enjoyed is learning how to see how athletic directors cross the finish line differently, and the nuances between from state to state. Mississippi can do certain things that we can't, and then we've got advantages over them. And, when you're dealing with as many schools as we deal with here, it's really neat to talk about the work that athletic directors do and, talk about fundraising and advertising platforms and scoreboards at facilities and those types of things. It's something that I've really enjoyed in my role here at Mascot Media.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate there's so much more I want to ask you, but we're out of time right now. But I'd love to have you back. I want to get
Sure.
into more things you did on Zane D, and I've also got to talk about your fishing because you're one of the best fishermen in Northwest Arkansas. We got to talk to you about that.
We'll
All right.
certainly go. We'll get our practice in.
Well, there we go. All right. Brad Blue, our director of high school relations here at Mascot Media, one of the all-time great ADs and then girls basketball coaches in the state of Arkansas. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to everybody next time on Talking Preps, presented by Mascot Media.